Actually,
Right.
talking about the depression earlier, do you know what's on the opposite spectrum of depression? Do you know what can cure depression?
What can cue it?
Yeah, cure it.
Oh, what can cure it?
Yeah. Or what can we
Remedy it?
prevent it? It's
What?
probably better. What do you think?
Drugs.
Yes, I mean that's what we've been, the society. It's usually, like even when I wake up in the morning and I feel groggy, for example.
Yeah.
I don't want to go and do breathwork exercise, which will actually have a much better effect if going for a cup of coffee or going for a run, right?
Breath work.
Well, breathwork is one, but what's on the opposite side of depression is curiosity.
Oh, that's the opposite of depression?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Well, think about this.
That's
So people who are, what happens when we are starting to get the symptoms? What happens to us?
when we're starting to get the depressive symptoms or the curiosity
No,
symptoms?
when we're starting to get the symptoms of depression, how do we feel? What
It's
happens?
cascading. It affects everything. It affects
Yeah.
your thoughts. It affects your physiology.
Yeah.
It affects the way you communicate,
Yeah. And you just,
the way you eat. Sometimes people stop eating.
yes, but you are generally become disinterested. You lose your
Right.
habits. You start, you stop asking questions in a way. You kind of start to hide and almost like close in all of your perceptions slowly. And you are becoming kind of covered like almost under a cloth of this. Everything becomes gray, if you wish, through all of the sensors. So suddenly everything loses color and you lose interest. You lose interest in food. Even if you're given, you don't perceive that food, right? You lose interest in conversation. Everything seems to be not interested and so on. So, and what I have, when I was looking at it, I was shocked because I was interested in, what happens with this postnatal depression.
Yeah.
What happened? You've got this most precious, extraordinary gift that you possibly actually really wanted.
Right.
And now you don't know what to do because you can't go back.
Yeah.
Right?
How does nature make it so to where your mother can be depressed after something like that?
This is not the case it's not as prevalent in non-urban, let's say, in traditional societies.
Oh, really?
Of course.
In like native cultures or
Yeah.
like indigenous cultures.
Because you're not told you can't co-sleep. You're not told you have to work and go earn money.
Oh, right.
Right? You've got your bigger family to support you. You've got your sisters. You've got your, aunties. You've got your parents, grandparents.
You don't have the stress of society.
Yeah, your task is, what you have in your hands. You still have to earn food and, you have to look after the house, but the child is not disassociated from your life.
Right.
You sleep together, you eat together, you cook together, you go on the field together. It doesn't mean it's, like everybody has a perception what is better,
Yeah.
right?
It's probably not natural to carry a child for 9 months and then to all of a sudden have to go do something else
Yeah.
and have somebody else raise your kid 90% of the time. That's probably, I can see how that could be really
But
depressing.
also, we are taught that we should be a certain way when we are mothers or fathers.
Right.
The family should be
You feel
that way.
guilt, you feel
The children
anxiety.
should sleep, that they
Right.
should be they should sleep apart and, they should behave, they shouldn't shout, like, I don't know,
Right.
like, and they shouldn't be affecting the vibes,
And when something goes wrong, you're on Google. Why is my kid doing this? Oh my
Yeah.
God, your kid has this disorder, this laundry list of things wrong. Go see a psychiatrist, give him this drug, medicate your kid with these drugs.
Yeah. So, and when I started looking, I thought, oh my God, the questions in the depression scale questionnaire is basically how curious you are still about life.
That's fascinating. And how would one go about becoming or fixing their depression with curiosity? Like, how do you hack that? Is there a way?
Well, I like to go like, we'll also come back to this question about adults, right? It's basically nurturing what they're most interested in and going back to that. And this would be our first port of call to see that they stop doing hobbies this is when it's starting to become
When you
daunting.
stop doing hobbies.
Yeah, when you stop doing, like that balance that we talked about earlier of, roundedness of our life.
Yes.
But with children, we're constantly telling them what they should be interested in. And we are, in a sense, slowly killing their curiosity. We're telling them what they should be paying attention to. We're telling them what they should be studying. That's what school does. They're not teaching them through experience and discovery through their senses. They're teaching them the curriculum. And it's not bad teachers. Yeah, it's not.
No, it's not a system.
It's just because we have to level up, right? And we know there are some teachers that, paid so little, they're doing extraordinary work and they ignite children. But there's less and less space and time to do that because they have to do all this electronic tick marks. And before they have to do, marking papers by hand. But now, there are other pressures on them. So it's not for the lack of teachers, but it's how they're taken out and what the expectations is. So what I've experienced with my children is that the school was training children to do the exam that they didn't need to do the exam for. It was to show how well the teachers and the school performs in the entirety of the country. So they spent an entire year training them to do well in the exam, not teaching them something valuable and engaging curiosity, but so they could perform to the exam that they didn't even need to do, that they were not marked, to go further.
It's just to mark. That's terrible.
But they have to also, in a way, if you can imagine, it's KPI, right? In terms of performance measurements of how do you gauge on how well, they need to measure it somehow. That's the best so far the system has to do it.
Right.
Because we don't know how to measure how curious is the child. We can only measure it when they're depressed.
Right.
Right? So this part of this work for the new generation, what I'm interested in is that how do we keep the synesthesia progressing?
Homeschool.
Yes, homeschool, and a lot of people choose to do that. Another part is that how do we ourselves stop falling into our own concepts? How we keep questioning, should we do this? Is it something, what is this concept? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do it this way? Why do we, like the children, I don't want to do it. Why do I have to do it?
Right.
Do we ever stop and ask, why?
Right. This is typical toddler questions that I get from my toddler all the time. Daddy, why do you have to drive a car?
Yeah.
Basic things that I'm like,
good question.
Huh.
Yeah.
Let me get back to you on that. I don't know.
Well, this is it. They allow us, this. So once parents, went through these 6 months, I do the 6 weeks course with the methodology for the newborns. They ask me, what else can I learn? I don't want to, now fall into the trap of society or my own concepts. I want to be refreshing because they feel the engagement, they feel communication, they feel reawaken, that they're with the child. And so I've now progressed into the next kind of level. It's looking in what children are reawakening in us, because we were children. Yeah. So we can actually remap those curiosity, because if I met you probably, I don't know, in the playground when you were, I don't know, 6 or 9, I don't know, 12, we would have been different people. We possibly wouldn't even recognize each other right now, with how much excitement or how much, what we wanted to do, how free we were to choose it and not to consider, everybody else around us, what we want or not want to do. And how much more innovative we were in our, picking up and problem solving was very different.
Yeah.
So this kind of next level is looking how can we engage the child and adult together, not through the device. Devices are helpful, right? At some point, we cannot wipe them out. It's just how can we make this into something that is helpful?